It's Friday's edition of Morning at NTV. Once again, a warm welcome. Thank you so much for being with us. Hashtag is Morning at NTV across our social media platforms. And this morning's discussions are going to be quite interesting, especially starting with our Kickstarter. And then we're going to be also having a tech note. In our tech note, we're going to be looking at something that's very peculiar. To be honest, it's pretty much my first time to hear about it. And I'm going to learn as much as you're going to be learning hot flashes in men, which is also known as andropause, and it is the men's version of menopause. Yes, shocking. I can almost feel your reaction. So yes, men also go through menopause as women do, around the same age bracket of 40 to 50 years, 55 years of age. But it's a peculiar thing that has been ignored, or there's not that much information that has been dispensed about it, or people that know have kept quiet about it because you have to protect the egos of men, especially in the African culture. And my guests are nodding. Well, so I know that we're all familiar with the menopause in women, but did you know that men are also going through hormonal changes as they grow, especially in the 40s? The male menopause, it's also known as andropause, is often triggered when men reach their 40s plus, and in fact, as many as 30% of men can expect some sort of physical changes to their bodies when they reach that age. But some have some exposure to this information, but many of them have no idea about this information, and so there's a sudden shift in mental attitude and physical ability that can come when a man finds out that, hey, I'm going through andropause. Well, this conversation is a tough one to bite this morning, but I'm joined by Birungi Lynda, who's a medical service provider, and we do have Nasulu, who is also a medical doctor, to help us understand andropause. Let me start with Miss Birungi. Good morning to you.
Good morning. How are you?
Very good. How are you? Doctor, you're most welcome.
Thank you.
Yes. So I saw Miss Birungi here nodding her head seriously. Could you enlighten us as to why you were actually agreeing with some of the things that I was saying?
Like you said earlier, sometimes to protect men's ego, but the truth is they also go through those phases that women go through, but they do not have enough information. I wouldn't call it ego, but maybe they also don't know. We all know when you clock the age of 40 and above, so many changes in your body will take place. But for men, they have little knowledge that some of these challenges or changes that they get in as they grow up at 40 and above can be helped to manage them well, like women have been helped to manage their hot flashes and menopausal signs and so on. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Doctor, when we go to a pharmacy, on the shelf, there's all sorts of products for women who are in that phase of menopause. I've never honestly seen products for the men's version of menopause on the shelf, which means that medically, perhaps it's a silent conversation in the medical world equally.
Yeah, I do agree with you. But then to tell you about this, the challenge that we are having is always kinda, and it's always kinda rare. It's a rare condition to see a gentleman walking to a hospital for such complaints. And actually, for some of those ones whom we have gotten in touch with, they always come complaining of other things. Could it be infertility? Could it be maybe, let's look at loss of weight, something of that sort. So what happens is we have these products, they are there. And then to the lucky ones, whom sometimes we get in touch with, we always do the prescriptions, and they get these products. So it's a condition that is kind of rare, but it's in the in the community. Because if
when you say rare, do you mean that 1 out of 10 men, 1 out of 100 men, or it's an experience that every man is going to go through? So when you say rare, please elaborate. I'm
saying that it is rare. Actually, every man is going to go through it. But the reason that's why I'm saying that it's a rare condition is it is kinda it normally goes unnoticed. Most of the men they go to facilities. It's either misdiagnosed, either associated with other things. So you can let's say, for example, if we had like 100 men going through it, you might even find that we are having about 20% who are having the right diagnosis currently in Uganda. So that is why I'm saying that it's rare, but it's in the community. Yeah.
Okay.
Priscilla, maybe it could also be men do not have that health-seeking behavior. They don't usually seek health services like women do. That could also be another challenge, that sometimes it's hard to diagnose it. They sit back and die with their challenges, not until they are really badly off. Yes, that could also be another challenge.
That's a big challenge, to be honest. But let's first go back to better understand andropause, because it's a new word, and so people need to understand what is andropause, what are the signs that I'm getting into the andropause stage of life as a man, what are the symptoms, what are the things that happen to my body as a man when I'm clocking 40 onwards.
Okay, thank you so much. Now, what happens is, we know that when we are growing, we have our bodies, we have hormones which control our bodies. For me to be a man, I have hormones that are taking me towards that. And for you, Priscilla, to be a lady, you also have hormones that are playing that role. So what happens is, when we are growing up, mostly from the ages of around 40 and above, there is always a decline in the principal hormones. In most, actually, we call it testosterone. For the andropause, that is basically, we are looking at a deficiency in that hormone. So for every year we always add on, after, say, for example, 40, 41, 42, there is always a decline of about 1%. So what it means is, in most cases, by the time we clock 60, 70, it has dropped. Actually, at 70, we are having about a half of what a 20-year-old is having. So basically, it is a decline in or a deficiency in a hormone that makes us what? Makes us men. Yeah.
What other aspects of a man does it affect?
It affects a variety of things. Number one, we need first to understand what is the importance of this hormone, basically, to men. This is the hormone that actually, as I told you, it makes us a man. Me to have actually the body mass that I'm having, it's the work of this hormone. Actually, but the bone density is the work of this hormone. It also sometimes helps us in the metabolism of some proteins within our bodies. So if, let's say, for example, I told you that the body mass, so that means if the hormone is kind of declining in the body, the person, maybe I was weighing something like 60 or 70 kgs, with time I'll start losing weight and weight and weight. Then another thing, we also have it will also have a principal hormone in the sexuality life of a person or an individual, mostly men. That's why you find men above 40 starting to complain. They are not performing well.
Yes.
It's because of this hormone. Yeah, thank you.
All right. So in terms of treatment, you can't treat what is not known.
Yes.
So it comes down to sensitization and creating as much awareness out there. Ms. Birungi, where are we on this journey of creating as much awareness about andropause?
I think it's the duty of all of us in the healthy system that we need to educate our people, tell them, you know what, this is something that is happening and it's with us and it's not about to go. Because as we grow, young people are growing, it's not about to go. So we need to continue sensitizing our communities, our people, that this is something we need to know. And if you have a challenge, where do you run to? Yes.
Okay, so now if a man comes into a health facility, is seeking maybe an alternative kind of treatment, but they end up finding out or being diagnosed by andropause. When it comes to the treatment of this condition, are there treatments that are sufficient enough to support the population of men that we have in Uganda?
Yes, the treatments are there, but of course depends. Maybe it may not be plenty or a lot on their disposal, because it is something that may not have come out openly, like you see menopause, where someone will walk into a pharmacy and there are products that can help them calm down some of these things. But the more you sensitize, I know, and the demand increases, of course it will get up there.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
But the products are there, but maybe accessing them or viability is not that good, because it's not something that it has not shown demand. That's why we are here to tell people this happens and it can be worked on.
Whose duty is it and responsibility is it to have that demand created?
It's all of us. We in the health system and the users, the people, the community. Yes, it's all of us. When I have information, Priscilla, even if I am not a health worker, it's my duty to inform the circles around me that, you know, you can seek help or advice from an experienced person so that you can be helped out. All we need to know is what exactly is the problem, what are the signs and symptoms, what should I consider to visit a health facility. Yes.
Okay. Speaking of products that she's talked about, women have alternative products. They have herbals, they have these teas that they drink when they get into their menopause to help them with the various levels of conditions that they experience in their menopause. What's the reverse of it in andropause? Because as she has rightly stated, men and hospitals, that's a hard bargain. Like it must be death that takes them to a hospital. So are there alternatives that perhaps their partners can use to support them in ensuring that they have a smooth journey through their andropause?
Yeah, but then sometimes, as we said, there's somewhere I talked about andropause being, it's also having some causes, which we can call them like aggravating factors. Like it is there, but sometimes there is something that is going to engineer that. Okay. So sometimes we go down and we try to look for such causes. If, let's say, for example, if it is obesity, and then now we can go ahead and advise either our partners or our colleagues to work on that in line with that. Then also, if let's say we also looking at use of drugs, if maybe this is a person who has been either consuming alcohol for a longer time, we always advise them to either limit or reduce the consumption of such a thing. So we always first look at what could be the aggravating factor towards that. That's where we start from. Before even we bring in putting them on supplements that are going to take away all the symptoms. Yeah, so it's basically that.
So you have mentioned obesity. What are the other factors that could aid the quickening of andropause in a man?
We always divide them into what we call acquired and then those ones which are congenital. Like for acquired, let's say for example I was birthed and I was kind of okay up till when I am like this, but then when I clock 40 it starts to kind of to go down. These are factors. Number one, we can look at, we have, as I told you, we have a lot of hormones. We have a type of hormone that is kind of takes this testosterone hormone from the bloodstream. The moment we keep on aging, this hormone that keeps on pulling the testosterone hormone from the blood increases. So what happens, it is again reducing on the principal hormone in the body. Then another thing, we always look at the origin. For the testosterone hormone to be produced in the body, there are series of functions that happen in the body. Like say, for example, we shall look at the brain. It also plays a very important role. We look at the tests. So what happens is, if let's say, for example, we can even look at a tumor. If a person is having, let's say, a tumor in the brain, and it is located at a point where this hormone, the information to produce this hormone comes from, automatically there will be a decline in such. That's why if a person is having kind of accelerated symptoms of this andropause, in most cases we don't take it as a minor thing. We need to explore and explore and explore. So it's, I think, basically that. Okay,
all right. Ms. Birungi, I'm now going back into the hospital. He said that of the 100, it could be like 20% of men in their 40s plus who will get the right diagnostic in terms of addressing the andropause. That also speaks on two sides, that one, when these men are seeking whatever medical assistance that they are seeking from health centers, many more chances is it going to be related to the consideration of andropause and therefore giving tests and what to be able to come to that conclusion of a diagnostic to either eliminate or acknowledge that it does exist. I've seen this when it comes to women. You will be asked quite a series of questions to address whatever it is that you think you have. One of them being, are you pregnant? Well, you had sex. When was the last time you had sex? You know, quite a number of questions. I have not seen the reverse being true for men. One, the mindset of male doctors may not be acknowledging of this condition to be able to then address it, and yet they take up quite a bigger percentage of health facilities in terms of giving this diagnostic. And then even the women doctors, it's a very sacred thing to talk and address about, as much in society as it is in the medical society. So how are we going to reverse this to be able to make it a comfortable thing for men?
I think it has to start with us in the health system. For anyone who comes up with a certain complaints that may trigger your thinking that ABCD, it's upon us to encourage them. But then it also has to start with us having enough knowledge. That is 1, 2. It has to start with us having a positive attitude, and let's not look at it as a minor thing. Sometimes, like how he said, someone can walk out without you diagnosing it because you do not put it as priority.
Yeah.
Yes. So,
and yet we fill out these forms, age group, weight, all this information is given to the doctor.
Like us, of course, like you said, the women have a questionnaire we go through, which is obvious to everyone. Even you, before you come to the hospital, you know the questions that will be asked. So I think it's high time, even we have that questionnaire, but I think it's high time it is spread throughout, that even the men can be able to know that, you know, if I have this challenge, this could be one of the questions, the challenges I might be getting. So where do I go? Where do I seek help? That kind of thing. But it, like I said in the beginning, it has to start with us to be ready to give out the information, help the community or our clients and patients to be like, yes, we can help them. It is through this that the people we help will go back and spread the good news. Yes.
Okay, all right. Doctor, cognitive functioning of a man is also usually affected by this condition?
Yeah, it is very, very affected.
How so?
Now, when this hormone actually keeps on, this hormone plays an important role in our cognitive ability. A person having a sober mind. That's why, if let's say, for example, you landed on a person, on a man experiencing this, I'm looking at a severe decline in the hormone. They're always having issues to do with cognitive ability. Their thinking is kind of reduced. They no longer concentrate at work. Even actually, if let's say, for example, you're working with them and you can be able to notice. Some of us who have gotten chances of interacting with them, we have really confirmed this one. So it is a serious problem. This is something that we need to go ahead and actually sensitize the community. If we are able to reach out to at least 70% of the men who are going through this one, it will kind of make their lives kind of okay. Because it does not only affect them as individuals. This is something that is going to affect the entire community, the families. Actually, families are also sometimes ending up with marriage breakages. Like, say, for example, if a person is experiencing cognitive issues, they are unable to concentrate at work. That is going to affect their pockets, if I want to say so. It's going to affect the homes. It's an entire burden. So it's something that should be addressed.
Okay. All right. So as medical service providers, Ms. Birungi, how can we mitigate this issue in society and create an enabling environment for men to acknowledge that this is a reality, but that it's a reality everyone is going through? It's just the way the body was made, that at certain time X, it's going to deteriorate. However, there are solutions around it.
Priscilla, it is going to start with me and you. When you get an opportunity like this one, please give out the necessary information to the public, to whoever you meet. for us in the health system, when you get an opportunity to talk to a group of people, like we have been talking about menopause, let it go hand in hand. As you talk about menopause, talk about andropause. And for example, before we've been concentrating on maybe cervical cancer, but now we are doing it. Cervical cancer goes along with prostate cancer. So it has to start with us, me and you, give to the community, as slowly we'll get to what we want. Yes, please.
What other information would you like the community to have off their fingertips?
One, when you clock 40 and you have any challenges, please go to the rightful people to give you information. Two, I am encouraging men, like women do, to please seek health services. Don't sit back to wait when it's quite late. Nasulu hinted on something like it has broken down. It has led maybe to even maybe gender-based violence. Like, for example, one of the symptoms is erectile dysfunction, and before you know it, your wife is thinking, or your partner is thinking, maybe there could be a question, and you know it progresses slowly, and before you know it, it is causing issues. So I just encourage them, the community, please seek, especially the men. As for today, the women are trying, the ladies are trying, so men, please seek health services. I am sure these are things that are workable, and sometimes you just need information. It may not even need money, but something you can work within your means. Yes, please.
Okay. Doctor, what's the status of andropause in Uganda?
Yes. Actually, the status of andropause in Uganda, as I told you, we don't have clear data on that one. Reason being, these are the cases that are not being diagnosed. These are a few of us, like, say, for example, we are working with Reproductive Health Uganda. At least for us, we have a chance of getting in touch with them. That most of them are coming, as I told you, they are coming for either infertility complaints, electoral dysfunctions. So that's when we get a chance of landing to these men who are experiencing that. But if you went to the national data, it's not there as of now. Yeah, it's basically that.
Okay, so just in case there's a man who has just tuned in right now and has found this conversation quite enlightening, please walk us through the symptoms and the things that they can watch out for if they're in their 40s plus, to then maybe relate it to andropause.
Yes, so these are some of the symptoms that sometimes we might be having. Number one, erectile dysfunction. If you are a man and you're above 40 and you have started experiencing erectile dysfunction, just know that is just one of the indicator. Then also we have actually loss of muscle tone. You're a man and you've been kind of a stronger gentleman. You could even lift over 60 kilograms, 70 kilograms weight, but you are unable at this time. It's one of an indicator. Then also we look at the bone density. If it has gone down, this time you've started having issues to do with bone pains and so on and so on. It's one of the indicator. And then also we also actually, as ladies who are in menopause, also experience mood swings. Even as the gents, we also...
No way. Wait, men also have mood swings?
Yeah, it is always there, but we are unable to...
So that's why they come back from office very late.
Thank you so much. You are unable to tell that it is mood swings due to andropause, purposely because you are thinking maybe it's because the worker wasn't okay, is either broke, is not having money, has to pay school fees.
Cool, but it's just mood swings because of the condition.
Wow. Because of the other condition.
It takes a lot to acknowledge that you're a man. Yeah.
So literally those ones.
Wow. Well then, you know, as you have said, Ms. Birungi, that we can't have this conversation independent of women. So how can women come in to offer a helping hand and get involved?
It has to start with partners. Like we said, support them, help them. Some of these things we can even get naturally, not the moment you have the information, you know. Give an example. If I do exercises, will it help? If I do have a good diet, will it help? If, you know, and even partners encouraging, if they have partners who are going through these phases, encourage them to seek advice from the people who have the knowledge. Yes.
Okay. All right. Which brings me to a final question, Doctor. When it comes to treatments, of course, there's the medical treatment, but away from the medical treatment, what other things would you recommend men in their 40s onwards adopt as lifestyle to be able to handle this condition?
Yeah, actually, you've even mentioned it, lifestyle. In most cases, actually, we do what we call a lifestyle change. And in here, if we also look at what could be the most accelerating factor. If it is obesity, we always advise them to work towards that. Then nutrition-wise, actually, if you looked at our diet currently and then the diet of our grandies, it's kind of different. You can find me having my lunch. I have no greens. There is no greens. There is nothing like fruits, but all throughout. So you can. That means I can take over 2 weeks minus eating foods that are having nutrients which are necessary for the body. So we always advise them to do more of to look at their diet. Here we always emphasize them to take more of the greens, fruits, and so on and so on. Then the other side of obesity, we always advise them to do kind of some exercises. That one also helps because remember the brain is the principal organ for this. So when a person is kind of doing exercises, this happens. Then also we always advise them to always visit hospitals for checkup, because some of these things are accelerated by other conditions. You are having diabetes, you are having HIV. It can also cause this andropause thing to kind of come at early stages. Yeah, so it's basically that.
Well, thank you so much, Doctor, and thank you so much, Ms. Birungi. This conversation has been very, very enlightful, and I'm pretty sure the men this morning are very thankful for having gotten a hold of this information. Again, it's a normal thing. It's nothing to fear. It is what happens to our bodies. They deteriorate. I mean, how else do we wrinkle? We were not born with wrinkles, but at some point, I will have wrinkles. It's a reality that we all go through. However, we can go through it with the best practices. One, of course, seek medical attention around it, and then make sure that you then adjust to a lifestyle that complements it. That brings us to the end of this conversation. We're going to be taking a short breather. We'll return shortly. Do stay with us.